I'm Dawson Schmidt here with the latest stories and developments in this week's Commodity Roundup on Trader PhD. Corn and soybean planting progressed rapidly last week ahead of weekend rains. The USDA's crop progress report on Monday showed that 12% of the U.S. corn crop had been planted as of Sunday. That is up 1 percentage point above the same week last year and 2 points ahead of the 5-year average. USDA meteorologist Brad Rippey says that progress was led by double-digit gains for a few key states.
Top of the list, Missouri advancing from 9% planted on corn a week ago on April 13th, all the way up to 33% by April 20th. Not far behind, North Carolina advancing from 19 to 42%, a 23-point jump during the week. Even Iowa, as far north as there, going from 2% planted a week ago to 18% planted by April 20th.
Meanwhile, soybean plantings reached 8% complete last week, which was 3 points ahead of the 5-year average. Drier conditions in parts of the western Corn Belt allowed for a quicker planting pace in Iowa. Planting progress is expected to slow later this week due to additional rainfall. Government models show that parts of Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, and Iowa could receive more than 2 inches of rain over the next few days. Areas further east could receive about another inch following heavy rainfall last weekend. Limited showers in the northern plains could keep spring wheat planting moving along quickly. The USDA noted that 17% of the crop had been planted so far, up 5 percentage points from the 5-year average. Beef demand, which has benefited from resilient consumers, could soon sour amid declining consumer sentiment. A closely watched survey by the University of Michigan showed that the index fell to a reading of 50.8, down from 57 in March. It was the lowest reading since June 2022 and the second lowest in the survey's history, dating back to 1952. Higher inflation expectations were the primary reason for a lower outlook. Despite the bleak financial outlook, Kansas State University's meat demand monitor showed that overall U.S. meat demand remained strong in early 2025, even as more Americans reported feeling financially worse off. But beef demand may not be able to buck the trend for much longer. Prices have now outpaced general inflation for 5 straight years, and consumers are starting to feel the strain. According to the Meat Demand Monitor, for the first quarter of 2025, people who feel worse off financially are eating beef in just 0.65 meals per day, compared to 0.88 meals for those feeling better. And when it comes to high-end cuts like ribeye, their willingness to pay drops by nearly half. U.S. beef demand was able to weather the storm of poor sentiment when inflation peaked nearly 3 years ago. However, declining sentiment and sticky prices could begin to dig into demand optimism. Strong global demand and uncertainty about biofuel policies continue to support U.S. soybean oil exports. Recent USDA export data showed that total commitments for the 2024 and 25 marketing year reached 955,000 metric tons, or 2.12 billion pounds through the week ending April 10th. And that was an increase of 985% from the previous marketing year. Earlier this month, the USDA raised its soybean oil export forecast for March to account for the strong shipment pace. Consequently, the agency lowered its biofuel production estimate due to a sharp drop in output during January and February. Poor margins and uncertainty have impacted biofuel plants since the beginning of the year. The Iowa Renewable Fuels Association told Brownfield Ag News that biodiesel plant closures have been going on for months. Executive Director of the Iowa Renewable Fuels Association, Monty Shaw, says the timeline for the plants to come back online is still up in the air. The industry is still waiting on key guidance from the EPA and clarity on the 45Z tax credit, which could provide incentives for low-carbon fuel production. Meanwhile, strong international demand could keep pushing U.S. soybean oil exports higher, even as domestic uncertainty lingers. Thanks for watching. I'm Dawson Schmidt, and this has been Trader PhD.